Welcome back. Another episode of RX Radio. This one live from Edmonton, Alberta, which is go to the worst place in the world and hang a left and you'll reach Edmonton. Joined by Edmonton native and mayor of Edmonton, not really, but actually, young Smokey. So stop what you're doing right now. And if this is the only call to action you're responsive to all day, Smokey the Assistant on Instagram. Huge guest feature here by Young Smoke. Lord smokes a lot. He doesn't actually smoke. He's probably one of the most responsible young adults I've ever met. And this is Big Bidness Podcast, the return of big business with your favorite pessimists. 666 in your programs and number one in your hearts. Killian Hamilton returns to the podcast for a Big Business reboot. Probably one of our favorite segments. We talk all things industry, social media. Killian gives his very unique perspective on the industry as it currently stands. So it was nice to get the band back together, Jay, Smoke, me, and Killian. Now, upcoming, we're going to have an episode on this. And for those of you who've already hopped on the train, I've got a lot of great feedback about the Vivo barefoot shoe sponsorship we have. So you guys are interested in a new pair of kicks. Look, I know we're Jays to the death. I just unpacked a suitcase full of Jays, James Marshall. Not James Marshall, John. Too many James, dog. James Mack. If you guys are on the YouTube feature, that's our boy with the microwave desk. God bless. We're Jays to the death. Stripes, not checkers, or stripes, not checks. But no, checks, not stripes. There we go. It's been a day. But in training, the barefoot move has been the move. Other than some travel limitations. And me misplacing my pair of Vivos. They're my go-to lower body session, especially now with my split. I'm rocking 2 lower body days a week, which is super nice. And thanks to the Vivos, I've been able to get back to that. It definitely makes you more aware. I would say one of the things that we're going to focus on the upcoming episode at the end of the month on barefoot training is understanding exposures to barefoot in general. Usually starting off in the gym with a non-lower body dominant day is what I recommend. Just getting used to the impulse and the impact from barefoot walking, realizing how it is you exactly strike the ground, because you'll notice a difference right away. The awareness that it'll create will start to alter your gait pattern, to start to use whole foot pressure, and that whole foot pressure is going to work upstream to help, bias pelvic positions that are going to allow us to adopt hip rotations that allow us to absorb and produce and transfer force more efficiently. So huge shout out to Vivo. These guys have been great to work with. And, we've been so reluctant in the past to bring on a sponsor. We couldn't be happier to work with them. And while we're at it, so Vivo Barefoot, vivobarefoot.com, promo code RX. I think it's like 20% off or something. Do that. You won't regret it. And also, too quick plug for the boys HD. If you guys are in the supplement game, protein, pre-workout, carbs, even creatine, glutamine, all that stuff. Those of you who follow the podcast closely, our studio is inside Pure Muscle and Fitness, which obviously owned by Dorian Hamilton, Noah Hamilton, Mariah Hamilton, and with Kathleen Houston at the helm of operations. Huge shout out to the family back home at the studio. And Pure Muscle and Fitness, obviously that whole team owns HD Muscle as well. Any company that backs their products with integrity is everything. Obviously a big fan. I've known these guys for some time, and that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of just the quality of people, and that plays out in the quality of the product. So shoes, we got you. Pre-workout, sports supplementation, we got you. So let them know, get behind it. I know a lot of you guys are back in HD from back in the day when I was still competitive, working with them. But promo code RX'D across the board. Now, without further ado, we'll get into the episode. Big shouts to Young Smoke. Stand up, gentlemen. And when I mean stand up, I mean this dude is like 6'5". He makes us look so short and mentally stunted as well. Such a cool insight. So definitely not the last time you've heard Young Smoke on the pod. One of one, minted, one of a kind. God love you, Smoke. Huge shout out to Smokey the Assistant on the gram. And you guys enjoy the episode. See you next week. Lundy, hit it.
You're tuned in to RX Radio.
Is there like another definition of skinhead that people don't know?
So there's the real definition of skinhead.
All right, let's just start here because why not do this on a fitness podcast?
Jesus.
Okay, so skinhead culture. Jimmy, don't kill me if I get any of the history
Jimmy's
wrong.
not going to listen.
I know. But so skinhead culture originated in the UK, which is why like Doc Martens are prominent footwear in skinhead culture. Fred Perry would be a popular skinhead brand. But skinhead originated as like a working class revolt against government and capitalism and things like that. And skinhead culture in the UK actually has close ties to the reggae culture of Jamaica.
Okay, where are these close ties?
None of this makes sense to me.
Yeah, like
ties. You understand this?
No, man. Where's the branch off?
Okay,
like, where do we?
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's the music they listen to. Is like skinheads would listen to like reggae, ska music, dub music.
Ska, yeah, I can see the olive branch from ska.
And then like street punk, which would be classified as like oi music.
Okay.
OI.
I know, I'm following.
That has like chants and gang vocals and stuff like you guys would hear. That would be like something very synonymous with skinhead culture.
Okay. When did the racism come in?
That's that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, where's the divergence?
Yeah, so the divergence in skinhead culture also happened in the UK, and I believe the divergence from anti-racist skins to like hammer skins or like racist skins actually happened almost as a political decision. So very much what you would see is like the separation of left and right, or left and I would say far right in America being people that, you know, could verge on being extremely racist to some degree. They might have got there through political reasoning. You know, maybe being out of work, maybe feeling disadvantaged, maybe seeing people of minority move into their country and then being
like a
total
very American History X type.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sympathizing with them or giving them credence, but this culture split off as people that were all working class. Some people were working class and understood that everybody who was disadvantaged by the government was disadvantaged. And then a racist subculture broke off as these people were already in the mood to revolt against something and decided to be terrible human beings.
Okay, so my question is, did the initial skinhead movement, were they... I suppose you don't have to be anti-racist, right? We would hope the default is anti-racist.
Yeah.
If you have to say it, you're like, well, why did you have to
but
say
it would
that?
be, I would describe the skinhead movement and subsequent subcultures of the skinhead movement as anti-racist. Because I think everybody by default is not racist,
right?
If you're a good person. But I think anti-racism would be people that take a proactive or aggressive approach to anti-racism.
Okay. So initial skinhead movement, anti-racist, violent in the presence of racism.
And then it got to the States.
Yeah, and then it unfortunately it comes here as what we see predominantly as like neo-Nazi skins.
Yeah, so like that's like when you say skinhead, that's what pops into my
yeah,
which
which
is
like
the American History X.
Yeah, which
like,
would not be what pops into my head.
Yeah,
like all my friends are skinheads.
So is that like?
But UK, sorry, go smart.
So is that like a cultural relativism thing?
Yeah.
Like between the UK and America, like is it predominantly anti-racist over there? Or
well, I think there's a large skinhead culture in America as well, but it's just such a small subgenre of like the punk movement. It's not something that's in the mainstream.
Right? Yeah.
But like, for example, more often than not, if you saw a skinhead person, a man or woman, shaved head, if they had like a Fred Perry polo shirt on, done up, Doc Martens on, that person's probably an anti-racist skin. They're not a neo-Nazi skinhead. Like they're not a Confederate flag weirdo skinhead. Yeah. They're probably actually anti-racist.
You can usually tell because they don't have swastika tattoos.
Yeah. That's a good sign.
That's
like there's like hammer skins and then sharps. So hammer skins bad, sharps are skinhead anti-racist punks.
Okay.
And they came first.
Correct. And there's pins that skinheads will wear that say sharps on them, or just punks will wear that say sharps.
Okay, and that's to delineate the good from the bad. Now, do they cross paths?
Of course, all the time. That's a large part of what this is.
It's like some weird turf war over the term. Essentially, it's a turf war over not having hair and being either good or bad.
Well, even skinheads don't necessarily have to have a shaved head. Okay. You can have a full head of hair. You can do whatever you want. It's just a term that is collective to the group.
Man, how many times do you get stopped in public? I remember when you had the not welcome hanging Klansman shirt in the elevator in your apartment in Parkdale.
Yeah.
And that raised a few questions, eyebrows, etc. How often do you get stopped for the clothing that you wear?
All the time. Support crime is a big one that gets me stopped.
Yeah.
This one, actually, you're the only person who's ever brought it up.
How long have you had the shirt for?
I mean, like a month.
Okay. Yeah, you don't socialize much though, so I might be one of the few people you've talked to in that one.
But I also think some of like the clothes that I wear, I don't even think about it. Number one, when I wear it, it's just like my friend's clothes or a band. But also, I think like there's a level of people that I don't know if you would talk to a person that wore a shirt that looked like that. Would that be your next move to be like, I don't agree? Is like, is that smart?
Yeah, like what demographic of people are like walking up to you and are like being like, what does your shirt mean? Or immediately like somebody could just read that and be like, oh my God, skinhead. Like I need to do something about this.
Older white people.
Yeah, no, totally. Because like you wear like a Cannibal Corpse shirt or like some kind of metal shirt and you're getting stopped by moms with kids being like, you can't wear that in public.
Yeah.
It's like,
See, the older white people is like, I mean, I get the Karen culture to a little bit, but like my concern, one of many of my concerns, is that this culture, I don't know, is this common knowledge in African American part? Because I feel like that would be the group I would be most worried about not offending as someone who might identify as an anti-racist.
Yeah.
Like that, I would be concerned if I was wearing that shirt, like, or maybe let's put it on you because it's you're across the dial. It's like do you ever walk past like African American people with that and then think, oh shit, they might not know oi punk ska reggaeton culture from the UK from eons ago, and they might just think that I'm part of the clan.
I don't think so, but I don't think I ever have a preconceived notion that I'll interact with people and they'll think I'll be racist in any way. I don't think I carry myself in a way, or I go to places where I would if I was a piece of shit.
But you also live in which is like an interesting one.
Yeah, but I'm in neighborhoods that don't look like me often.
Right.
But I think it's about how you carry yourself.
Ah, man, that's a flag. You know what this to me is like Die Hard 3. When he's just wearing the sign in the ghetto. Because it's like, at first glance, especially for someone who might already be prone to irrational violence, like walking through some of the neighborhoods that you're just taking your Fujifilm through.
Yeah.
And just like wearing that and just be like, I don't know how good your elevator pitch is on the history lesson of the skinhead. Like,
well, first of all, you got to get somebody to calm down.
Yeah.
But
I think it's like a level of them like reading the shirt. Also, do they identify the term skinhead with neo-Nazi?
I would say
that majority of the people.
I think most people in the States would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a risk. So my thing is like, and it's odd because you don't like human interaction. Like you're like me. Like speak when spoken to. It's kind of like when you're around in a crowd, you stay really quiet. And then if you are addressed, then you expect kind of the same thing. Like you like that control of conversation. To enter in to the social contract that comes with wearing that shirt is antithetical to the notion of like, look, don't talk to me, right? Like, because that's you're wearing a conversation piece.
I guess so.
It's really vexing.
Yeah, I just honestly, it's never present of mind. Any of the things I wear, like
Evidently.
I just wear them.
Yeah. Even
when people like, I'll have like the support crime hoodie or whatever, and people will be like, "Oh, really? Is that what we're doing?" And I don't even know what they're talking about half the time. And I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, well, what's the problem? And then I ask them what crime is. I just ask them. I just go, well, what's crime?
You go meta on them like that.
Well, yeah. Like, so what layer are we gonna go to? You know, like what is crime? What are we gonna deem immoral?
So other than like, I'm familiar with the one case at the gym with the support crime one. So you've never really had any major pushback. Clearly, not to the
support
point where
crime has been the one with the strongest pushback.
Okay, but still, like you'd still wear the article of clothing.
I'd always wear it.
Okay, now like, are you just pro conflict?
No, I think I'm very non-confrontational. I think I'm a hot-headed person.
Non-confrontational people shop at REI and wear earth tones.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
You don't wear a Patagonia vest. Like that's
but maybe me wearing something and maybe somebody getting in my face about it is an educational opportunity. You know, it's an opportunity.
What is this, PBS? What are we doing?
I know.
Specials on the street.
It's just an opportunity to educate someone.
Educate someone on the real meaning of skinheads. Have you noticed like any? I mean, you're outspoken for sure, and I love that about you. Have you noticed any pushback like online? Because like it's one thing to come up to a guy in the street that looks like you and like carries himself, and you're friendly. You say hi to people sometimes,
like I would think you would go out of your way if you could feel that someone was uncomfortable, be like, oh no, like hello, like I'm not going to give you the history lesson, but hi. But online, it's a free for all, right? It's just punching people in the dark.
Yeah, no one's really said anything about support crime online. Like I think I've helped the people behind support crime sell a few articles of clothing for sure.
Okay.
So I think it's a positive feedback loop.
I went out.
Well, that depends on what they do.
That
Depends on what they do with the money. Wouldn't that be the ultimate
support crime?
Yeah.
What else are we doing?
Right.
Support
So
crime.
you're helping the money laundering operation, or allegedly.
I simply post a sweater.
Right. But I guess my thing is, I can understand people walking down the street and being like, okay, I'm not going to approach this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's having a bad day. But online, it's fair game, right?
Yeah.
Nothing, no pushback,
not
polarization.
Really. Not really online.
Do you feel like that's because you've curated your audience to expect this type of behavior from you?
I think, one, they expect it of me.
Okay.
I think also the way I've dealt with people's pushback in the past for lesser things.
Love that.
Has set me up
Here's
in
the
a good
line in
way.
the sand.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as far as you think it would be.
Yeah, like I will pin my location. I will call you on FaceTime. Like I'll hit Instagram video and call you where you are.
Yeah. And from a business perspective, would you advise that?
No, I wouldn't advise people to do anything that I do. Okay. I would advise you to make great business choices. Not necessarily be me, but I think also, if you want to be a vexing individual, I think there's a genuine nature in being vexing, and I think there's a disingenuous way to be vexing.
Right.
And I think what I see on social media is people play a vexing individual.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think people choose to pick fights or be weird. And I know you guys already did a podcast, we won't do it on that. But I think, like, when people are disingenuous about their confrontational nature or their weird views on something, it's obvious it's coming from, like, an attention-seeking place.
Right.
I think I'm just very matter-of-fact. Like, that's the only sweater I have. So I wore it on the podcast.
Yeah. No, I get it. But it's just, I think, a lot of people might see the success you've had and look to not necessarily emulate your brand of weird.
Yeah.
But to emulate, like you said, like a disingenuous brand. I mean, I want to pull this turn into a big business podcast.
Of course.
Because that's like the most sought after segment. Because I see the disingenuous actors that are looking to narrate a story about their life, or business, or brand, whatever.
Yeah.
That is disingenuous. But it's like, you're an interesting person.
I guess so.
Which is like, sometimes it does my head in how interesting you are. Because I'm like, I don't know where he is. People message me like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. He was fine when I saw him last, and then he's gone. So I was like, did Killian shave his head? I was like, I guess. But it's like, how do you advise people to find that they're weird? Do you? Because like, are people just generic?
Yeah, what do you got on the smoke?
Yeah, to like kind of answer.
Oh yeah, because let's not talk about fucking wardrobe.
I mean,
look at those fingernails too.
Daddy
denim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's fucking.
Man, I think you can't really push somebody to be their version of themselves. I think, even a person is like introverted or extroverted, you just wear yourself on your sleeve. Like,
how did you start? Because he found something at an age that I didn't. At 22, I didn't know what side of the bed.
Thank you. It's called jade and cynicism.
Is it? But it's called side effects of living in Edmonton.
Oh,
absolutely.
Man, it's cold and brutal here. It's terrible.
But that's weird. Like that's I mean, is it because you're just such a fucking weapon that you'd be like, I'm gonna paint my thumb blue and just see if anyone wants to get kicked in the head?
Well, dude, like again, that's the thing. There's definitely a certain like do not fuck with factor, and I don't wear that factor on my sleeve. I'm physically capable, but yeah, man, like if some fucking dude with a beer gut's like, oh, you fucking, why are you painting your nails? Like I don't fucking care. Like it's fine. It's fine. You can go about your day. I'll go about mine. You can keep your shitty comments, and like I'm no less myself than I was before this interaction, and you're still kind of just a shit human being, and I can walk away from that feeling better about myself in a way. I don't know. It's fucking.
I think I would have 22. I think I would have cared.
Yeah. 22 is like the line in the sand where I started to mature. Before that, I was just a raging idiot.
My favorite.
Oh, man.
Old Jordan stories.
Oh, my God.
As ill-advised as his decisions are.
Alter
boy. Yeah, we're not going to get him. Like, we've recorded episodes about stuff he's done. And I was like, yo, we're just going to scrap that.
Yeah,
right? We're not going to see the light. That's admissible as evidence. We're waiting on some statute of limitations to pass. But it's like, and because there's twofold to that. Like, at 22, I wasn't, if someone came up to me and was like, yo, what the fuck, I would have been like, fuck you, man. And then I would have gone home like I yelled at me in the park, whatever. And that was a different time for conflict altogether. It was a fucking decade ago.
Yeah.
Now, like
you could get in a fist fight.
Yeah,
a decade ago.
Yeah.
Now it's charges
exactly.
now.
And that's it. It's dicey. You kind of just got to let words be words and fists be fists.
Yeah.
And you really got to do a good job at letting other people cross their T's and dot their I's and just make sure you're on your best behavior.
Because there's a weird thing that letting things go and repressing things on the outward are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But on the inside, they're completely different.
Oh, fuck yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's something that, like, I've kind of come to realize where people are like, oh, like, you just got to let things go. And then you're like, okay, like, it's not just work. Doesn't just work like that.
Yeah.
And I see those people, like, they're letting go on the outward, but they're repressing on the inside. And then they just fucking go off the rails, completely postal.
Yeah. Like, letting shit go isn't shoving it into a tiny box until it spills.
Yeah.
Like, so many people need therapy and don't fucking get it.
But that's wisdom at a 22-year-old. At least I never had at 22.
Yeah.
It took like a fucking failed marriage for me to sort that out. Failed marriage and panic attack. Yeah, it's thanks, fuckers. Like,
I didn't laugh.
thanks, dog. I appreciate you.
Gotcha.
Even though I'm riffing on your clothes. I don't know. Kind of back to...
Your own brand of weird?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's really an interesting idea because I think it's all about perspective. So, I don't view my... demeanor or how I act or dress as odd, or my choices that I make. But I'm surrounded at times by people who act and dress and do things very similar to me. So I think people all seem weird in perspective. Mm-hmm. But 3 days ago in Boston, I was surrounded by people that looked very much like me, liked the things I liked, dressed the same. I'm sure 6 of us were wearing the exact same shoes. So it's like it's way less unique, I think, in certain like tribes of people, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, most people don't bounce around tribes. All other those 6 other guys in Boston are in Boston right now, wearing the dumb fucking shit kickers that you wear, whatever, with like the jeans. What are the jeans that all like the hype beast Asian jeans you rock?
They don't wear those like naked jeans.
Have you heard of these? Yeah, neither have I.
Nudie jeans. I don't even know what they're called. I just bought them because Wes said they're sick.
Right. Okay. But they're all there doing that.
Yeah.
And you're here doing this.
Yeah.
You're like, you got this weird chameleon factor to you.
I don't know. I think I read rooms really well.
Okay.
And I think I can put myself in different rooms.
But you do whatever the fuck you want. We know this, but it's like the choice to go into different rooms.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I don't do this. I'm just really interested in everyone else's take, because like it's one thing to know how to read a room, and just I gotta go to some fucking cocktail party with the whatever.
Yeah.
And be like, oh yeah, like and you get in the car, like, oh my god, fuck,
Yeah.
that was like, it's just not my people. But you can read rooms and you just choose to go to these rooms specifically, because if you're good at reading rooms, you can go to any room.
Yeah.
But you specifically choose to go to these rooms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious.
I think it's interesting. So I think people get really exhausted, and I get exhausted in social situations, but I think other people get more so exhausted because they're comfortable in one situation and uncomfortable in another. I think I'm equally very uncomfortable in any social situation.
You're the Incredible Hulk of you're just always uncomfortable. It's a secret.
So, but I think the thing with that is, like, I've developed for a long time since I was a kid, like, okay, what do I have to do to make this room less awkward? Well, like you said, everyone in the room is acting a certain way. I'm the one who's not. So it's like I'm making them feel awkward by being different.
Right.
So how can I be more like them for this period of time? Well, that's any room I'm in.
Really?
Yeah, well, I'm like, for whatever, better or worse, like an only child, and I don't think that really has a large input on things, but also it's just like I do like being alone. I also have like a lot of interests and hobbies that are singular in nature.
Right.
Yeah.
Photography, every sport I've ever played or been good at is usually a single-person sport, not a team sport. And if I played on a team, I was usually good in isolation of the team, not as like a team contributor.
Would you say you're more consistent in all rooms or more adaptive to the room? Because I think I'm the complete opposite as you.
I think so.
Like,
yeah, I think you are too.
I'm pretty much whatever room I'm in, this is what you're getting. And it's...
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm pretty introverted.
So you're more like him?
I mean, yeah. I
think, no.
To some extent, yeah.
And I think, like...
in a different way, but a lot of things you're saying are very true for me too, is I prefer to be alone. I prefer to be quiet. I don't like a lot of conversation. Like, I can... If it's a conversation that's something that I'm about and I fuck with, I'm like, yeah, I'll go in with it. If it's something that doesn't catch my attention, I'm like, I can do without this. Like,
yeah. Do you ever feel? I don't know. I always feel a level of obligation to.
others
to do the other thing, to do like, oh, like you're interested in this, and then I just like fucking have this Rolodex in my brain that I'm just like flying through some sort of reference of a show I like flicked past once when I was a kid, or like pull something like, oh yeah, maybe I traveled or knew someone that did something, and I'm just like, I need to I keep a certain frequency, and I can't just go like, oh yeah, like let's talk about fucking late '80s, early '90s Porsches. This guy's just boom,
I'm in. Let's go.
But it's like that. How he would talk about Porsches if someone comes up to me and is like, you know, something I'm not interested in, I still approach it like I'm interested in it, and I'm just fucking reaching just to make people comfortable. Like, oh fuck, like I need some frame.
So you do that for other people, not for you.
I'm genuinely interested in things that I'm not interested in, that I don't know about.
Yeah.
So if I can like be, you know, one subject matter deeper than they anticipated, and like just have enough experience to be like, shit, like where in the brain is the little file about something that might be a jargon term relative to the sub niche that they're talking about, or the artist that they're talking about.
Right.
And I can get a little bit more. And then when I go talk to someone else 3 years later, I can then have this like aggregate, this little file gets bigger. I think that's my main interest. Like I like knowing things. Because I was like a short little fat kid when I was really young. And the way I got out of situations was I was just a really smart-mouthed kid. Yeah. And I realized, then I got to a certain age where it's like, okay, you can either beat people with your words or you can beat them with your hands. But the hands was not an option for like a really long time. And then I grew like 8 inches in a summer. I was like, oh, okay, like now I
That'd be very different for me. Like I grew up confrontational. Any moment that could be solved with physical conflict, I solved with physical conflict. Like as far back as I can remember, my parents have stories of me being in physical conflict with another person over minute issues sometimes. Like my mom has a story of me in a McDonald's literally choking my cousin till he's purple in the face. R.I.P. Zach Newton.
Yeah,
Wait.
Oh. No, different.
Died at different
time.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
dude. Newton, man.
Yeah, shout out Zach Newton. But yeah, me and him, we were cousins, but we were the same age, and he was like my brother. And we would go places, and every time we went somewhere, it would end with me beating him to an inch of his life until someone would come over.
Yo, this is a kid that tried to tell us he's non-confrontational like less than 10 minutes ago.
But yeah, like I think I grew up just like solving things that way, and I think to some extent I have
solving things, because this is where I think the being an adult, not adult, but
no,
like,
I think it's true. When you become an adult, it doesn't solve it then.
Right.
But when you were a kid, you know, a decade ago, solves it pretty good.
I guess
that's true. The first one to cry loses.
Yeah, exactly.
That's coming from an overgrown child.
Oh yeah, man. No,
he made a lot of kids cry.
Those are Edmonton rules.
Yeah.
But I think the same thing is like I have the thing that you have, but I think that honestly came from personal training, was remembering and knowing 10% about everything. Like, do I have 44 minutes of knowledge on this subject?
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's doing bits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even the way I would introduce myself to someone would be a bit. Like when I was a personal trainer, I rehearsed all of the social interactions I would have to the point where it felt more normal, but it was a script. Like I would say this and I knew they would say something and I would respond with this regardless of what they said. I wouldn't listen to it.
You're just doing crowd work.
Yeah.
And I've recently taken to like teaching through that mechanism of like just have one in the chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because the dead air, I think, and that might be the one thing that we're all consistent with. Dead air for you, you just leave.
Yeah, I just
right.
walk
Like
out.
Okay, bye. I'm like, oh man, like that kid just fucking. Is he with you? I'm like, it's fine. Oh, but I don't like dead air, so I need to fill it with like. There's just contingency plans running in my head, conversational contingency plans.
Yeah.
If they say this, then this. If they say that, then this. If they say this, then that. If everything goes to shit and they just zip up and say nothing, this is your out to start a new conversation. Like I cannot stand. Like that gives me anxiety.
Man, I think a lot of that stems from just being in front of people so often, especially in like the position that you're in. Like you're teaching a seminar, you can't have dead air. Like.
Yeah, I think there's a value proposition, like Smoke is saying.
If a room gets quiet, like that's not an awesome thing. So like even at the seminar last December, like room got quiet a couple times. And you're like, all right, like fuck, get on it. Yeah. Like what are we talking about here? Quick refresher, and like you just got to get people going because dead air in a situation like that's a fucking death sentence.
Yeah,
like it's not.
I guess. I don't know. But I mean, I was like that before I started doing like public speaking. But maybe that's why public speaking is probably...
It's what you're so good at.
Yeah.
But it just fucking... I mean, there's a... Regardless of who I'm talking to or what we're talking about, it's like I could be like dead asleep, and then it's like I gotta hey, like come meet this so and so. Like at the gym today, me and Penny were just sitting there on our laptops, and I had like a few people, as weird as this still is, like come up to me and be like, "Hey, like hey man," I was asleep in the fucking back of the truck 7 minutes ago, and it's like that's to me, that almost to me seems like disingenuous, like because I think about going into weekends like this, and I literally just fucking beat my head. It's every Friday before seven when I sit, just usually talk to this guy. He goes like, Jay's like Belichick. Right? Like, he's just calm and collected. He's just in the back, fucking running the playbook. And he just kind of comes and he's like, "How you doing, mate? Good?" And he knows to check up on me. I fucking died. God damn it. I can't fucking do this, man. Like, it's going to suck. And every Sunday, we hug it out at the end, and it was all good. But it's like it fucking, before going into social interaction, I'm like anxious to the outcome. It's always, I think, usually goes at least better than expected, which might be the strategy. And then after, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just to the age now where I'm like, these ledges that I walked to the edge of on like a Friday before a 2-day, whatever the fuck, or having to meet someone for the first time, I'm like, okay, these are usually end well. And I can finally close that loop in my brain. It's like, okay, you don't think you're going to like this. Afterwards, you're going to like it. Yeah. And that gives me anxiety.
I don't think I get social anxiety like that. Like, I get anxiety about a lot of things. It's usually about people that I respect. Like, I get anxiety around thinking I've, like, done a disservice to somebody or I've, like, disappointed someone. Like, I'll get anxiety around you guys. Like, if I know I fucked something up, I'm like, or, like, something random will make me anxious where I'm like, fuck, I got to talk to Jay and this fucking thing. But it's like, that'll give me anxiety. But social interactions, I have no anxiety. And I think I'm very quiet in them. And I think, maybe purposely or not purposely, I think me being quiet in social interactions sometimes gives me control of the situation. Because the other person's probably more attuned to you. They're probably anxious coming, like when a client or a person comes to meet me for the first time, they're way more anxious than me because I'm a constant. I'm always me in every social interaction. I'm not different. So if somebody I've never met walks up and talks to me, the outcome for me is the same. Like at the other side of the conversation, I'm still me.
Right.
Whether they liked it or not.
But to me, that's kind of, that's a because in one breath you're a chameleon, but the other way you're still you. Are you just more binary? Like you're either engaged or you're not?
Well, I think I'm always me to myself. I think I'm a chameleon situation. Like I don't get anxious because I leave the other side of whatever interaction the same. Like even when I'm upset about something, usually by the other side of it, I'm immediately not upset anymore.
Okay.
Whatever the conclusion was. Like I bring it up to somebody and then right after I'm totally cool again.
Okay.
And I laugh about it. So it's like for me, I don't think I get anxiety in a situation because the outcome is whatever it is. Like I don't have anxiety about the outcome.
Where does the anxiety stem from?
I think the anxiety stems from me feeling unprepared about what it's going to be. Like I know what the outcome is going to be, but it's usually around like feeling I don't have all the information on the situation. That's what'll give me anxiety.
So that's a weird. So I'm the opposite. I know I'll never have control of the outcome. So and that gives me a level of freedom. Yeah. That's probably one thing that I've sort of like I find comfort in is like, well, fuck it. Let's see what happens. Because it's like I've tried the control thing to a point where it's put me in a hospital bed. And I was like, well, this is all a big crapshoot anyways. So I think I'm the complete opposite of that. That's the one thing that like lets me do what I do. It's like, oh, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think I don't ever care about an outcome. I always like, the anxious part is just me thinking the other person has more information than I do.
Interesting.
So it's like in a public speaking or doing a seminar or something like that, I wouldn't have anxiety because I'm like, well, I know everything. This guy knows literally nothing I'm going to say. Okay. I can only do it well in his eyes.
Right.
But if someone messages you and they're like, hey, can we hop on a call? I'll get anxious.
Interesting.
Because I'm like, what is it about?
Like
debrief me before we get on. Because it's like, what do you possess that I don't possess? Right. Or someone's like, hey, let's meet up. I'm always like, where? Why? Why do we have to physically meet in a real place?
Yeah. So your thing with telephone calls too?
Yeah, I don't take telephone calls. Because I can't see the other person.
FaceTime. Because then he can infer through like facial
body
expressions
language.
What to go with.
It's like that's a totally normal thing.
What?
Like that's a normal thing.
That's because you didn't grow up with a house phone, Smoke, because you were born in 2007.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not a normal thing because FaceTime didn't exist until I was 20 years old.
But I think there's a comfort in face to face. You can see someone's body language. You can understand on a phone and like. I don't know. Cell phones always seem to have bad service to me. As good as cell phone service is, I'm like, what are you saying? I can't hear.
Yeah.
Like, I literally cannot hear when someone talks on a cell phone. As loud as it is, I can't understand it. I have to see them.
Interesting. And you do have hearing problems.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's odd to think like on the outward face. I think we all. I don't think anyone would see that drastic a difference between the three of us.
Any of us, yeah.
Like if you had to step up in front of a room, no one would really know. But then the behind the scenes shit is is wired severely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's. I don't look forward to it, but I know that there's a benefit in putting myself through it.
Of course.
But at a certain point, is there a diminishing return in that exposure? At what point do we ditch the Jocko discipline, do what's uncomfortable, the Goggins? What point does that guy just go get a pedicure? Just run the old tape. When is Jocko just sending some VA, bless you, some VA in Singapore a fucking Timex? Dog, can you take a picture of this? And fuck with a towel in the background. Yeah. I gotta sleep in, man. I'm gonna get brunch with the wife. It's Mother's Day. At what point do we ditch the hard culture and just be okay, you don't need this constant exposure. You're not a fucking Marine. This isn't Bud's camp.
No, man. And I think that's exactly it. You're always going to have dudes who go over the top like that and are trying to be something they want to be and just aren't fucking built for. If Jocko is up at fucking 3:30 in the morning every day doing fucking kettlebell swings and wrestling bears and shit, somebody's going to want to be that and they're not. You're just made from different stuff, right? I'm fucking how tall is Shaq? How
7'3".
7'3". Okay, I'm 6'6". I'm tall. I'm not fucking Shaq tall. I'll never be Shaq. We're made out of different shit. Up here is different. We're fucking different biologically. I'm never going to be him. Nothing I can do is ever going to change that. People aren't going to be Goggins. They're not going to be Jocko. They're just not going to have.
My question is Goggins Goggins? Is Jocko Jocko?
That's
my thing. See, you're my fucking guy right now.
No one is that. That's just an image. That's a facade that he puts on.
It's a Hollywood image, right? It's it's Rambo. It's what you see in a movie.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, I don't think I agree with Jinta because neither of those guys are who they are. Because to be who you are, it defeats the image that they have.
Well,
to
truly
be that, you're contradicting the image of that guy.
We know a real one.
Correct.
We know a real close to Goggins, hardest motherfucker on the planet.
Closer to past Goggins, a real hero, American hero. Two real American heroes.
And the thing is you don't see it. Because that's the realness of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Because I think that, it doesn't cause me anxiety. I'm at a point now where smoke has arrived a decade earlier, where it's I'm cool. I'm happy talking about, I go out with the girl in the car. It's great. I'll cry in fucking airports. Life's amazing. I'm cool. I'm totally good with the full spectrum of me. No problems. But man, I think I had a benefit because I grew up at a time where I wasn't inundated. When did you get your first cell phone? It is Edmonton, so maybe it's
it
was
Dude, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think I got my first cell phone when I was 13.
Okay, so 13 was what for you? 2013. 2013.
Yeah.
So you're literally a decade. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, he's a decade younger than us.
Jesus.
Dude, when did you get yours?
Probably about 15, I want to say, but it wasn't. It wasn't a cell phone that was
iPhone. We're talking. First, Instagram was in college.
Yeah, grad school was Instagram. Yeah.
When did you have your first social media platform?
Fuck.
Oh, Jesus, dog.
15.
Okay, so 15.
I was 15 with Facebook.
So you didn't, how good would this guy have done on MySpace though?
Yeah,
100% top friend.
That's what I thought.
Been a top
big
friend.
MySpace, yeah, big top friend.
Okay, so Facebook at 15.
Yeah.
Fuck, Instagram? Soon after?
No, it was probably 17.
Okay. The inundation, there's something that happened. I mean, there's a lot of development obviously that happens between 15 and 20. I never got Instagram until I was 22, around the same time.
Yeah.
That's when I got it.
Grad school.
Yeah. Show me your tits.
That was his first post.
Yeah.
It was
the hashtag on his first post was #show me your tits. Yeah. And it was just a picture of a Budweiser.
No, I saw 0 tits because of that.
We got that cleared up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a good thing to arrive to where that push and pull of social media has no effect on you. It's just noise. It's just entertainment. But fuck, man, if I was 16 and those characters were being fucking projected at the rate and pitch and frequency that they're, dude. I mean, I already tried to be a real hard kid. I tried to be, and whatever, you get in fucking fights and shit, but I'd be in prison. Straight up. If you gave me that kind of like alpha hyper aggressive male influence on an already angsty kid who like goes from like, oh, I'm like kind of smart and I can out talk people, like, oh, now I'm bigger than everyone.
Yeah.
And you throw like Salt Bay some Goggins and fucking Jocko on there. I'm just like, I'm hiding in bushes, just jumping guerrilla warfare, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? I wished. Like you don't know them, so you don't know. Maybe they are like this freak anomaly, but like one day I want them to just be like, give me the real shit, right? Give me the like I'm sleeping in, dog. Like I'm not fucking doing this time.
I want to read their Starbucks orders. Like I want to read.
That would tell
I think. I want to know what kind of fucking coffee they get. Because like,
it's not just black coffee.
No, it's
not
not.
a problem.
You got too much money to just have black coffee.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I was like 16, 17, 18 through undergrad, and I wanted to be the big tough guy. It was black coffees only.
Yeah,
no, exactly.
And then once I like started going therapy, I was like, "Yo, almond latte, thanks. Do you have some Splenda back there? Yeah, just mix that in." And some of the guys behind me like just like tatted up, fucking, and then he comes through. I'll have what he had. Thanks.
No.
And then there's some 16-year-old kid like, "Yo, I'll have fucking black coffee." Dude, like life's hard enough. Dog.
Like that's the thing is like it didn't really happen until like I got together with Tiana that it would be like super plain like black coffee, like maybe a sugar if we were feeling frisky, but like she would come through with like the super super heavy coffee orders, and I'd be like, oh no, like just like a water for me, like I'm fine. And then she'd get her fucking phenomenal, amazing drink. Yeah, man. Yeah. And she like, you want a sip? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll see what this is about. And my life has forever changed. Now I'm spending $8 on coffee. Like it's fucking.
It's got the whipped creams, getting the refreshers in the middle of the day.
The painted nails came before the coffee, which was like a reverse evolution.
Known,
it was coming.
They should have had your order ready.
Yeah,
they should have.
You don't know yet, dog. But like, just give this a taste.
You'll like this.
I don't know. It's tough because like there are times where, and this is like the caveat. Like there's times where it's okay to be. It's not all the time.
No.
It's not like always beating people up in the street.
No.
But it's it's such a weird balance now where it's just like it's all one or the other.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it goes back to genuine disingenuous, right? Like kind of how this started. And I think in business too, right? Like I think, for those guys, I think they've built a really good brand and they'll always be that brand. And maybe they are that character in real life. I don't know. I don't know who they are. But I think it's exhausting and that's where I think it's like you said, people won't be Goggins or people won't be Jocko. It's like, probably not for the reasons they think, probably for other reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe they could run a zillion marathons a day. Maybe they could have a machete tied to their fucking, rope paracord belt and be Jocko, right? But I don't think that people that try to adopt that presence on social media can be those guys because they can't do it day in and day out. That's the difference.
Exactly.
They can't play that character.
So, and like you look at it too, and it was like Jocko was a seal before Instagram.
Yeah, respect.
Goggins was a seal before Instagram, and like that's
the difference is saying that you're doing it or doing it.
Exactly.
Right, and the people that are doing it aren't on Instagram or social media saying that they're doing it. It's not for attention. It's not for likes. And that's the thing is, this is a business. So respect the hustle for what it is, right? It's a hustle. But the people that are doing it, they're doing it for them.
And that's the thing. I think maybe because it's a proximity to, and we all, I'm sure, have people in our lives that are probably, like we all have someone that we know in person that is as close to the real, if not harder than the projection of these hard characters in real life.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's where because just like with Smoke being on social media and it being a completely different game a decade later, the retrospective toughness, hard, I had to read Jocko's ebook and everything sounds like this, and we were in a foxhole in Whole Foods. And it's like, dude, like, fuck, Jocko, like, chill, dog. Like, you sell fucking energy drinks at Wawa. Like, it's fine now. But even, he's however many years removed, and, like, no shade, make your money, and thanks for the service and all that stuff. But, like, he's reflecting back on times that aren't current, or aren't present. So, like, not that it's disingenuous, but it's like, it's he's telling stories held to a standard of a decade ago, right? Like where you could throw it, like it's a different, like everything is different warfare now.
Exactly. And like, I mean, to that quote specifically, like the dude's who are like portraying this, they're taking that Jocko lifestyle. They're getting in an SUV, driving to work, and like it's not fucking Fallujah.
Right.
Like we don't need to go this hard.
And to your point though, Fallujah is not Fallujah anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
No, exactly.
The rules of engagement have changed across the board, year over exponentially since a decade ago or whenever they were active. And it's like that's the side of contextualizing that presence that is always just lost in like the storytelling of like undoubtedly there's a time where that dude probably pulled the trigger and killed someone.
Yeah.
We'll all be on board with that. But it's, I think telling the story in real time is more interesting than tell me the story about supply chain issues with your fucking whatever, and I'll be able to see it through the eyes of someone who's lived through all this crazy shit, right? And that'll be a way better story than some other guy running into supply chain issues who has just lived in an office his whole life. Yeah. Right? But it's like working on supply chain issues on the back end and then being like, wait, when we were in Nam or whatever the fuck, I don't think he was in Vietnam. But it's like, dude, just give me the real stuff through your eyes. That's the story that we all want.
Yeah, not like, that experience isn't relative to your own. Like that's somebody's own life experience. You don't get to like make a puppet of that. And just keep that fucking machete on your paracord belt and drive to work.
But that experience will undoubtedly change the way you look at the supply chain issue of your energy drinks.
Exactly.
Right? But I think the takeaway that I'm getting is like what's personal is universal.
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
They're picking off the things in their, and I don't want to pick. I don't know why it's turned into like an anti-Jocko or Goggins thing, but they're just easy characters that everyone's familiar with.
Yeah.
And you see it across the board at all levels of like following, subscribership, influence, and it's like, just tell what's coming through your windscreen now, and the way you tell it will be influenced undoubtedly by all of that crazy experience, right? Like they just go through and just tell you about the crazy experience, and it's like, okay, great. Like I can't extrapolate values from that to because I had an audiobook about Jocko, and he like literally gives you a lesson in business, which is sort of like very TypeScript to the point. And then he tells you how this lesson was learned through a foxhole fucking gunfight being mowed down by the enemy. It's like, could you tell me how that lesson was learned in business instead?
Yeah.
Because I have a business and not a machine gun.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to. It's not necessarily anti-him, and I think it's more so like the meta principle
consequence of it.
Yeah. Well, just more like the concept of it, that it's like, look, if you're someone who has a business on social media, just whatever's coming through your windscreen. Because to your earlier point, that'll be way more sustainable than trying to play whatever character. We'll be able to infer the character that you have in the way you deal with things and post things and what you post and all that.
And sometimes I feel too, like with a lot of these things, like these make hard work projects, sometimes to me it seems like the person selling that system doesn't know how to specifically help you with the problem you have. So what they're going to do is they're going to take you on a trial in which you will learn skills to come back around to the beginning of the problem you had 6 weeks ago and then try and get over those hurdles.
Yeah. Dude, if I see one of these like more men, like these men retreat things, it's like,
let's
go fucking pretend we're SWAT team SEAL. You see guys going into the room like this and like tapping each other on the head with like, Doug, he just needs to figure out how to enter a DNS from the back end of Google so his G Suite links to his email. It's not. He doesn't need to fucking.
And it doesn't solve the problem. And I think it puts a lot more things in the way of someone to either fail at. But I think for the person delivering that system, it gives them confirmation that their system works because you're winning at things that you weren't trying to win at to begin with. It's like your thing. You're like, some guy's just trying to fix his Google thing, or some guy has an employee that shows up late. And it's like, well, before we do that, let's go through this other system of being a man and look at all the wins you got. And then you're like, this guy's been showing up late for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, now try and talk to him. It's like, why couldn't you just tell him right off the bat? But I don't think they have that process, right? So I think it's, to me, the thing I'll always think about is people who reinforce making your bed in the morning.
Well, yeah. I mean,
making or not making my bed has never affected me for the rest of the day.
No, man. No.
Ever in the totality of my life, even getting back into that bed at night doesn't change whether it was made or not. And that's something I'll never understand. But every holiday Greenfield, I have got to touch grass or I absolutely can't, will tell you to stop and make your bed in the morning. And you know what I think about when I do make my bed? A lot of curse words that I'm having.
I fucking hate this.
It's tedious.
It should be working.
It's whatever goddamn time in the morning.
Yeah, and I got something else to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, now I can't have a coffee. Fuck,
yeah,
great.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't even finish making it. I make it like an asshole and I walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you, like, obviously, I think that's a Peterson thing.
Okay, he sucks, too.
You know what? He's definitely, it's gone the full circle of, like, you die a hero, you live long to become the villain.
Yeah.
And it's like he's definitely getting villainized now for things that he says. But
Thank
you could throw him into that mix of, like,
yeah,
because it is a really weird, without going too deep into, like, the political subculture stuff, but, you know, those characters have given conversational cannon fodder to idiots who had nothing else to say.
Correct.
Yeah. No.
Right? Like, it's all of a sudden there's a rallying cry for the people living in their basement or, like, who are tanking their businesses because this is the preeminent thing that the death of the modern man. It's like, dude, you're living with your parents. Right? You want to fucking push back against the establishment?
There's dudes hanging off of buildings, building them right now that are not the death of the mod. There's tons of people still doing this thing that you're still not willing at the end of that book to go do.
No.
Right.
Fuck no. No, like...
Yeah, like, go pour some concrete then, man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Put the book back and go work.
Yeah. I mean, just get a rock and start pushing it. He'll do anything.
That's the thing, man, is like a lot of grown men will like fucking melt if they get into a trade. Like they can't have somebody like even give them direction.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing. They like...
You just get... Honestly, you don't need like a Jocko, or you don't... You speak to this better than anyone. You don't need a Jocko or a Peterson or a Goggins. You need a fucking 5'6" Portuguese guy.
Yeah, fucking yelling at you day in, day out, breaking rocks in the fucking hot sun. Yeah. You need at least 24 hours of that, and then
just do a week. Just do a week of it, man.
Exactly.
I think military conscription would be big. Don't even send them out to active duty. Don't give them guns. Give them toy wooden shit, but just make someone clean the floor with a toothbrush.
Yeah.
And be like, that's how the world works.
Yeah.
It's literally the rest of your life is on your hands and knees with a fucking Colgate, whatever the fuck, cleaning grout in your mind. That's how the whole thing works.
Yeah. And I think that's a thing, right? I think it's just like in business, if this is somehow going to be a big business podcast, like being genuine or disingenuine. And like, I'm not going to some deep level of who you are as a person, but it's just with like, just knowing who you are. Like,
that is a deep level as a person.
You don't have
you
to
take
be,
it for granted.
But like, you don't have to be hard either. You know what I mean? You don't have to be tough. You don't have to be hard.
And that's
you
exactly
just be
it,
a person on the internet. And like, also you don't have to be like soft and nice either. Like, if you're not, just don't be.
I just think it's the hyperbolic that gets the attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But so they try and just lean in and echo.
And I don't think anyone who's ever met, like I could confidently say no one who's ever met me in person has gone, oh, you're so much different on the internet.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. People that are like, oh, no, you really suck.
Yeah. But at least I would rather that. I would rather that shitty inconsistency.
Yeah.
Because I think inconsistency is shitty.
Because like we've all met some people that when you meet them in person, you're like, you're that clown?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're this weird guy on the spectrum that I can't have a conversation
But
with?
vice versa. And then and it both equally like, you know, what your
Off-putting.
example and then people who you don't really like their internet persona and then you meet them in person, you're like, oh, you're not too bad. My brain, whatever the disconnect is, my brain files under category of disconnect and it's immediately arm's length away.
Yeah.
Because which one is the real one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you take for granted like what you said, I don't want to get all deep and kind of philosophical. You just need to know who you are. It's like, dude, that is the deepest and most philosophical.
And whether people realize it or not, like you're gonna wear yourself on your sleeve.
It's gonna come out.
Yeah, attention-seeking people are always going to get attention. The instruments they use that or achieve that with, they're just gonna vary all the time. Instagram, no Instagram, you're just gonna run into shit people.
I mean, I guess social media is kind of nice as like a flagging system. Because
it's a buffer.
Because when you were younger, you just had to like get to know someone to realize that someone was like a cognitively dissonant piece of shit. Now it's like, oh, okay, I have an avatar.
Shoving dirt in their mouth, right? Like fucking digging a hole with a stick.
Call that the old Edmonton special. Not really turning out any left fielders out here. But yeah, I just think people need to take an inventory of themselves.
Yeah.
Dark room, whatever you got to do, off the internet. But then also take a cross section of your digital presence, because it's like, for better or worse, the symbiosis is here.
Yeah.
Right. Neuralink, no Neuralink. That fucking phone's never more than 5 feet. This is it's in my pocket. Like podcasts are one of the few times in my day where I don't have my phone out. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter if it's projecting on some Iron Man screen in my head. It's always fucking right at the hip. So it's like a lot of people will just dismiss social media, like, oh, it's just whatever. It's just work. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Sorry. Like, it's your fucking life.
Yeah.
It's your life. Unless you're completely off it altogether.
Correct.
If you have an Instagram account that you go on once a week, that is part of your life. And I think some people might just put a small wedge in there by posting something a little bit different, a little bit filtered, a little bit, worded in a way that's a little bit, hard or tough or whatever, or, not trying to be. I know plenty of guys that are complete pieces of shit, but come off like, just all sunshine and rainbows. It's like, I know every time, and this goes for more people than it doesn't. The majority of guys I know, not fuck with, and no one at this table, every time they post a picture of their girl, you know what's going on in the back? And I literally have this friend that he straight up told me that every time he posted a picture of him and his old lady, she had smacked him around that day. Yeah, you know him too. I'll tell you who it is after. She had smacked him around. Like, yeah. And it's like, dude, that dissonance will just, it's just like cracks in the road. The water gets in there and just expands when it freezes. The next thing you know, your head just fucking explodes.
No, man. Yeah, that's like, those are psychological waters that no human has ever navigated. Like, people have dealt with domestic violence since there's been people, but you just post your significant other after that.
This is going to sound really weird. There was a rule proposed to me at one point in my life that my significant other had to be with. Right, me neither. But my significant other at the time had to be within the first 6 tiles, last 6 posts. So every 6 posts, I had to have that one up. Dead set, dude. Yeah, Schultz, dead ass. Like, that was a thing. So because the idea would be, someone would go on my page and then be like, oh, what is this guy about? Oh, girl. And like, that was, dude, you want to talk fucking with my head? Because like, I abided by it for like a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Because it would be like, oh shit, I'm 5 tiles in and we're in the middle of a crazy fucking heater. And I'm like, but this will make it worse if I don't. And we're already fighting about some nonsense bullshit. So there's the post. And then I'm just like, and it's just coming at you from, because now you're fighting on the inside in your own head, and she's up against you, and you need all your devices just to play defense. It's fucking nightmare, dog.
No, man, you can't do that.
But I don't think people recognize that that's a responsibility that they need to take on. Like, audit yourself first.
Yeah.
Like, you talk to a fucking shrink, get your shit sorted out, be confident enough to come in with the black and blue nails and one of these numbers with a smiley face on the back. And then go on social media, because I think some people are doing the therapy thing, and more people should. But they're not taking a look at the digital them, because that brings you right back to do not collect $200. You're right back to the start of the board again. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, and I don't think people. Well, I think people might know, but they're dismissive because that in itself is also work.
Yeah.
Right. Like cleaning up the dissonance between who they are and their digital avatar. It's like, when I put up stuff with Tess, I want to almost write, because I think people assume that they're like, and I know, we all know couples that have done it. People assume that shit's like bad, or like, oh man, they're just posting that because stuff's not going. It's like, no, it's going better than it. And that should be, Instagram should be like, have you ever posted a picture or taken a picture of, well, you're the guy. You take a picture of like the sunset or some mountain somewhere, and you take a picture of it and you look at it, you go, it doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah.
That should always be what social media is.
Yeah.
Something that like you try to, and I look at things differently now. Like when someone posts a picture of like, we went on a hike and look at this view. Usually I was like, that view is dumb. It's just a bunch of trees. Yeah. But I look at it now and I'm like, I bet you that view is really sick. Right? Because people are usually posting that because it's sick. Rather than trying to post it to make it look sick. So I think social media should always just be like a lesser version of your reality, not an enhanced, augmented version of your reality, which is where people take it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, right? I think people try and make the two things match. And I think you should be authentic in one way, but I think you should have a reality. And I think as much as I have a disdain constantly for social media, I think I get more comfortable with it as I'm able to differentiate the two things.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I am very much the same human as I am on social media as I am in real life, but both things are also very different.
Right.
Like, I log in at 7 a.m. to Instagram, and I log out at 11, and I'm at work. Like, I think of it as walking into the gym, and I'm encountering everyone as I would in a gym, and I'm talking to them, and I'm doing whatever, and then I log out. And then I go to real life, and real life isn't social media, and it doesn't have to be present in my real life either. And I fight as hard as I can to be off of it. Like, I used to like post when I was on a plane or where we were eating and stuff, and I'm like, why do I do that now? Like, I don't look back at that. It's like taking a video of a concert. I'm never going to watch that again.
Yeah, I do.
So, yeah, well, that's...
I think the overlying principle is that we both have found, we talked about this before, we both have found things that are sustainable.
And that's what I mean. Like, this for me now is sustainable. Like, I don't watch videos of a concert I go to, so I don't take them.
Yeah.
I don't take pictures in front of things.
Yeah.
People are always like, take a picture of me in front of this. They're like, do you want a picture in front of that? I'm like, no.
Fuck no.
I would never look at it. I don't know what I would do with that.
Yeah.
Do you go back? Do you scroll? Do you scroll through your own?
Yeah, I do. I look back through photos,
Yeah.
but I'm very similar to Killian in the way that I treat social media is an afterthought.
Yeah.
Right? It's live in the moment. Like, it drives me fucking crazy that it's pretty normal now that it'll be like a group of people out and they'll all be on their phone.
Yeah.
And they'll be doing this. Or like they gotta like get it on their story before they do the thing that they're gonna do. It's like it annoys me that that's a socially acceptable thing as opposed to experiencing the experience.
Man.
And then like, cool, if you want to snap a photo or whatever, like I do it too. I'm not saying don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't have your mementos, but I think that posting it out there and kind of showing it off should be an afterthought. That shouldn't be the reason you're doing this thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
It should be that you're enjoying it, you're having an experience, you're living your life, and then you have this thing that, you know, you put up on social media because you want to share with people that you care about.
Right.
Man, and like same deal. Like, I can go grab my phone over there and like through the fucking past 2 years of my camera roll, there's maybe 10 pictures of me and my girlfriend on there. Maybe we do not take fucking pictures. Like, you're just out there living, man. You go fucking get it done.
Yeah.
Like,
I have such a different approach, and that's
fine.
It's
That's
sustainable, but it's
cool.
sustainable. But like, I don't know. I live in fear that I'm going to die tomorrow, and not in fear, but I live with the acceptance that I'll die tomorrow. And so like,
what do you do differently?
I reflect a lot more than I used to.
Oh, okay.
Because, dude, for fucking years, probably for up to last October, from meeting him 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Head down, run through everything. And now it's like I'll sit every time I'm on a flight. I'll sit and go through my camera roll. Mm-hmm. Since meeting Tess, my photos have gone from 700 photos to 4,500 photos in a year and a half. Because it's like, I think that was something. It's all relative to your initial starting point of how much you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you do that all the time, then you're sweet. But for me, it was just like, phew, like blinders on, nothing exists. Go, 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 go. Now I'm like, okay, like all right, let's see what. Oh yeah. Like, I'll look back. Like, where was I in June of last year? Like, go to archive. Like, oh, that was crazy. That was a year ago. Wow. I never would remember that. But yeah, I don't know. I live in a constant, like, not fear, but acceptance that I'll die tomorrow. Because there's been some times where it's like, ooh.
Yeah,
no one would be surprised.
I think I'm in, acceptance I could die in 5 minutes. And I think I'm not very reflective of it. Everything is I would say I'm reflective like in big jumps, like quantum leaps of reflection.
Like a time frame?
Yeah, like it wouldn't be like I think you're reflective at a higher frequency than me.
Yeah.
It'll be like fucking last week and I'll be like, oh shit, I have so many friends and that's sick. And I'll reflect on that. But like I might go 18 months before I'm like, oh shit, I went to Yosemite and that was crazy. But it's just very like it's not present of mind for me. Very many things like social things aren't present of mind.
I think traveling for me has been a big part of that.
Yeah, probably.
Because I do spend a lot of time like on planes with like not I don't say not much to do. I also have a ton of shit to do.
Solitaire.
But there's only so much you can just put MDoc across the board on flights across the world. Like it just fuck. I really want someone to get on one of those planes and just try and.
Dude, I didn't have Wi-Fi and I was trying. I wasn't on the type of flights you take, but I was at least going to learn how to play solitaire.
I think like that has a big. Airports are very. It's a lot going on. There's a lot there's people are crying, people are leaving, people are getting deported. The airport's the fucking universe, man. You're running around, you got in flip-flops late for a plane. It's just a complete.
So I think we talked about the airport once in the podcast. I've wanted to bring this up on a podcast since because there's a change. So I used to say how I hated the airport and it made me anxious.
I remember.
I don't actually feel that way.
Why?
I'm just so chill at the airport. Once I get past customs always makes me sweat.
That's fair. I always feel like I got a bag of
Once I get on the other side, I want to be really early to the airport. Like, I want to be 5 hours early to the airport. I don't go to the lounge. I just find my seat. I get my snacks. And like, I like walking through an airport, especially when it's not busy, like a late flight or an early flight. I love the peacefulness of the airport. I'm like, this is the one moment in my life where I will be alone with people that I'll never see again, and it's the greatest moment.
Yeah.
And I love it now. I cherish the airport.
Can you single down like what the change? What was the impetus to that change? Because dude, going through Miami Airport with you and your goddamn flip flops, we're running, hightailing it. Like we had to run past the Cuban restaurant. Like that's how far down fucking MIA we were. And I look around and I was like, where the fuck is this guy? And he's sweating just from the anxiety.
Yeah.
Like he's going there. And I get customs. Customs always makes me feel a little weird. Especially when you're down in Miami. Everyone's like, yo, what do you got in the bag? And you were just not, it wasn't it for you. And for me, like, dude, the second I go through security, I got a duffel bag, a passport, and a credit card. The world is yours. Like, I literally, like, I think of it sometimes. I could just disappear. I just go. Like, that to me is like, I'm in international waters in my own brain. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think I had a moment this year where I did disappear. And that was the best. Like, I was at an airport. And I was like, dude, I could take any flight to anywhere right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell anyone where I was going or what I was doing. And I did just that. You know what I mean? I went to New York for a bit. I went somewhere else for a bit. And I was like, this is sick. You guys know where I am. We talk a couple times a week. But it's just like, just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was cool. And I also think it was like, I think the coolest thing was like flying back to New York from the UK to meet with our friend for dinner. And I was like, this is sick. I'm going to meet with one of my best friends in the whole world, eat dinner.
Well, why didn't you feel that before? Why didn't you feel that freedom before? Because I don't see you had no other constraints in your life that I'm aware of that you couldn't have before.
I don't know. I think because I felt, and this is where I say, like, understand what your reality is versus social media. Be the same person, but have two separate, realities. Is I think before I felt like this is a thing I need to document this. It's like, oh, I'm traveling for work, and this is like, especially during COVID, it's like this is something that tells other people you're successful what you do.
Okay.
Because I couldn't be in a physical space. I couldn't have physical clients and be like, look at me. I train a lot of people. I'm successful. No one knows what I do. So I was like, if I get on a plane and fly to Tampa with you, I'm like, I need people to know we're doing that.
Right.
I need people to know we're fucking training some athlete or I'm at some gym, and I need everyone to know what I'm doing every day so that I can prove what I do. But now I don't need to do that. Like, I think I have a large business built up. Most of my business is word of mouth now. Like, there's 2 people that send me clients every month. I'll never look for another client again. And it's like, I don't have to do that to tell people that what I do is valuable anymore. And I think I have other ways of showing that. And now I'm able to just like not post all day on social media. It's great.
Beautiful.
I wear the same clothes every day.
Yeah, your fucking weird skinhead shirt.
Yeah, but like I've been wearing those Stone Island pants and the same white shoes that I had in the UK. I'm still wearing them here. The same fucking shoes.
Yeah.
So you think like freedom is the biggest flex?
Yeah, and I think that's what I have now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not money. It's not influence for me. It was never any of those things. I think those things are
This is a security thing.
are ladder rungs. Yeah, to freedom, and I think freedom is where I feel most secure.
Do you ever feel like let's say all your clients drop tomorrow? Do you feel like you're in a different place in your mind where you were like, let's say 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
100%.
You'd be like, all right, I'll figure this out.
Yeah, I probably just feel like a part-time job.
Yeah, and you didn't because like you're not the headspace you're in right now is not going anywhere.
No.
Because the thing is, I think people might hear what you're saying, but they might go, oh, financial freedom is freedom. It's no, freedom begets financial freedom in some cases, but it's like freedom is a state of mind.
Yeah,
it's
and that's what I have now.
Yeah. You're running around in fucking parking lots.
And I think like photography's been a huge impact to me. And I think what's cool is me doing photography. I've seen other people start to take more photos too, or been like people message me.
I did because of you.
Yeah. And people message me. They're like, oh, I have a camera and I never used it. Or like, can you tell me what to do with it or what camera I should buy? And I'll tell people stuff. And I'm like, I don't know anything about photography. I just bought a camera. But I think it's cool because I set aside so much time in my day to do nothing but that thing. Yeah. And that thing has no instant gratification. Social media is instant gratification. I can make a post and someone's going to give me money. You know what I mean? It's like I can do a lift and someone's going to like it. I can post a book and someone will have read it. There's something I get back immediately from social media. where I don't even use my digital camera. I was talking to fucking James, and he handed me the camera, and he's like, take shots at the gym. And I was like, dude, I don't even know how to use this. Like, I just have my shitty film camera.
There's an extra layer of delayed gratification with the film camera.
Yeah. And it's like, I have to be so in the moment, I think, when I take something, because I'm looking at it, and like, I shoot black and white. I don't shoot color. So there's even a moment when I look at something, and I'm like, what is this if the color doesn't exist?
Yeah.
And there's stuff that's not worth it to take if it's not color. It's like a fucking field is stupid.
The sunset in black and white. Like, what the fuck are you
It's
looking at?
ridiculous. So it's like there's another layer of me sitting and going like, do I waste a frame? Is this worth $2 to fucking take this photo?
I do like there's a lot of parallels there. Like, I like the film camera because it's finite.
Yeah.
Like, because that's like wasting frames. It's like, should I waste my time
And
with worrying about this shit?
and you
Because I only
see it.
have so many frames before I fucking go tits up anyway. So.
And I think there was like at the beginning, it was like, dude, I would have 36 frames I could shoot, and I would get to 31. And I'd be like, well, I can go to the camera store today and drop this off, and they'll have it developed for tomorrow, and I can see them. And I would race to shoot the last 5. And the rules of film were garbage, because it would be like, cool photo, cool photo, cool photo. 10 photos that I was obviously out front of the camera store doing this, just wasting them, so I could hand it in. And now it's like, I'll have a roll of film on my camera for days. I had a camera, it's got a roll of film on it for a month now. And I'm just like, I'll go to take the photo. And I go, what the fuck is this?
I like that. I'm going to get there. I don't think it's going to get better. Because if you think about what he just said, there's a lot of layers to that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Smoke.
Fuck yeah.
Smoke. Young Smoke. RX, co-host. Appreciate you guys.
Fuck.